Alright guys, here again. I'm going to do a video or two this morning, and I got things to do. So, we're going to start this, we're going to talk about some more stuff today. No kit, just talk about some stuff, okay? Stuff that you need to have here, right? So, we're equipping both the body and the mind with knowledge. Some of you guys out there may already have a lot of the knowledge that I've presented in some of these videos, but then there may be people out there that know nothing and they need to learn stuff. So you just got to bear with me through all of the videos, because the first lesson that somebody has to learn is that nobody knows everything. You may pick something up even if you're already an experienced person. Alright, now I want to talk a little bit about movement today. A lot of the things that I present here have to do with being in a wood, being in a jungle, things like that, and you know, not necessarily urban, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Some of the things that I talk about will obviously apply to urban because some things are universal, like movement, right? So we're going to talk about movement today. Mostly I'm going to give you some tips here about moving quietly, but the thing is the number one thing that will give you away, especially when you're trying not to be discovered, is movement. Any movement will draw the eye. That's the number one thing. Number one, absolutely number one thing, is any movement will draw the eye. I'm telling you, that is the number one thing. Silhouette and color, those are just depending on the situation. That's either 2 or 3, right? So, by the way, coffee, Black Rifle, Cactus Squatch. That's what I got today. I'm going to be getting some of that other Minuteman coffee too. So, movement. Whether you are in an urban environment or a heavily vegetated environment, it doesn't matter where you are or whether you're in a desert. Movement catches the eye first and will give you away. Now, in non-permissive situations on foot, if you have the time to move slow and deliberate, that is the best option. That is the best option, to move slow and deliberate, especially if you are in an area that is thick with the enemy. You definitely want to be slow and deliberate. Slow and deliberate. You do not want to make any mistakes when you are in an area that is very thickly populated with the enemy and you are going in to gather intelligence and then come back and report. Okay? Now, that all goes back to what size of force it is. Well, where are they? Right? What are they armed with? All of those things, right? So you're going in to an area thick with the enemy to find out what's going on, and go back. Alright? Gather intelligence. That's what you're doing there. Gathering intelligence to use. Now, you may have your own team of guys. Maybe you got 6 dudes, right? Maybe you got 6. If you're lucky, right? Me, it's just me. I got me. I'm my own force. So, if you got 6 guys, and through networking, you got another 6 guys here, another 6 guys over there, and then you decide to team up, right? You got to get together and you formulate a plan. So you gathered your intelligence, and now you got to get together, you and all of your new buddies, and you're going to form a plan, because nobody can take out an opposing force, a large opposing force, when there's just a few of you, right? So you gotta have a force of your own, right? So you gather intelligence, you get together all the guys that you've networked with, and you form a plan, right? You can build a 3D model if you want on a work table. You haul in some dirt, a little water. You can make little hills. You can kind of lay out the terrain if you want. Hopefully you have a topographical map of the area that you're in. MGRS preferably, right? So you're going to formulate a plan. You're going to have a plan. You might have a plan box, right? You have a little box made by wood on the ground, and you get yourself a long stick, and everybody will gather around the box. You will say, I want a security element here, and we're going to have a force coming through here, and we're going to set up over here, right? And then we're going to wait on them. And when they come through, we're going to ambush them. And this is how we're going to do it. You know, that's the sort of thing that you will be talking about with them. You're going to, once everybody's got the plan down, or you have discussed the plan, Johnny is going to be Jimbo Johnny and Mary Jane, right? Or what was the guy's name I talked about earlier? Jim Bob. Let's call him Jim Bob. Alright, so we got Jim Bob and Mary Jane. I always remember Mary Jane because it's always Mary Jane Rotten Crotch, right? So, you got Jim Bob from the Waltons, and you got Mary Jane, right? And Jim Bob is going to be over here, and Mary Jane's going to be over here. Mary Jane is going to be our lookout. She's going to be in plain clothes. Mary Jane's going to have a radio, and she will either give you squelches, okay, to let you know when the enemy is coming through. As soon as the enemy starts to pass her, she's squelching you, right? She's not gonna be able to be, you know, real obvious what she's doing. She's undercover, right? So she's gonna squelch you on the radio. The opposing force is coming through, and you're going to be ready. You're going to be in your ambush positions. Alright? Anyway, so what you got to do before you get to that point, you got to drill that. You got to find a place, farm or whatever, somebody with a place that you could trust, and you got to drill the plan. And at 8:05, 08:05 a.m., right, in the morning, 08:05, that's in the morning, okay? So anybody that's not unfamiliar with military time, you need to start learning military time. So 08:05, Jim Bob is going to do this. So Mary Jane at 0800 said on her little walkie-talkie, right, on her communication, she squelched you a couple times. You got so many squelches mean this, and so many other squelches mean this. You see, you gotta have a plan in place for that. This is all formulate the plan, right? So you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna do 2 squelches. The enemy is here. The enemy is in front of me and is heading your way. Okay? 2 squelches. Jim Bob hears those squelches. And then he gives the signal to everybody else. Get ready. Safety's off. Right? Safety's off. Here they come. They don't know you're there. And then you take them out. Right? So anyway, gather intelligence. You move in. Get all your intel. You move out. That's part of your movement. Right? You got to be quick to get your stuff on paper. And then you got to get out of there. Don't quickly move in because they'll see you. That's what we're talking about. Slow deliberate movements in the presence of many enemy, right? So you gather intelligence. You're going to formulate your plan. You got your battle box on the ground. Oh, Jim Bob's going to be over here. Mary Jane's going to be over here. James Bond will be over here. And Mookie will be over there, right? So, formulate your plan. Then you're going to go to the farm. You're going to drill your plan, right? You're going to drill it until you know the time that something is going to happen. It started at this time. 5 minutes later, the enemy will be upon you based on what, based on, because you should already know the time it takes on foot to go from Mary Jane to you. You should already know that. You should have gathered that intelligence. That's part of your intelligence gathering, guys. Gather the intelligence. We're going to come back in another video. I'm almost out of time. Good thing I got this timer, right? Because I'm almost out of time. Again. You're going to gather your intelligence. One of the things that you're going to gather is you're going to gather how long does it take to go from Mary Jane to the ambush position on foot. How long does it take in a vehicle moving at a slow rate of speed to go from Mary Jane to the ambush position? So that's another thing. 2 squelches, they're coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, they're on foot. You see what I'm saying? 2 squelches, they're coming. Maybe 4 squelches, they're on foot. Or maybe one squelch afterwards, but you gotta have that pause, right? You could say 2 squelches, they're coming. Pause. 1 squelch, they're on foot. 3 squelches, they're motorized. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? So you need to have that data already. Then you look at your watch, synchronized watches, right? You look at your watch, and they're going to be here in 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes till it goes down. See what I'm saying? See you in another one.